Hey, everyone. If you've been around for a while, you know we love exploring the boundary where history meets faith. We read digging into stories that help us understand the Bible better and discovering what really happened in some of the most epic moments of faith. Today, we're diving into one of those moments, the crossing of the Red Sea. We've all heard this story, but have you ever stopped to think about just how wild this story is? It is absolutely bonkers. Let me lay it out for you. Picture this. After decades of brutal slavery in Egypt, God finally stirs up his people. Through Moses, he delivers the 10 plagues, including the death of the firstborn son, which makes Pharaoh finally let the Israelites go. But as soon as he does, he changes his mind. This guy is super fickle. And Pharaoh decides he wants his slaves back. He grabs 600 of the best chariots and fastest horses in Egypt and sends them after the Israelites. Then, get this, he personally leads the chase. Now, imagine the scene. The Israelites are marching across the desert. Suddenly, they see this massive dust cloud rising in the distance. As it gets closer, they hear the thunder of hooves and the clanging of chariots. It's a massive Egyptian army coming straight for them. And in the ancient world, if you were being chased by an army, there was only one way to escape: run straight into the sea or run into the arms of your enemy. But the Israelites didn't have either option. In front of them was the Red Sea. Behind them was Pharaoh and his elite military force, ready to catch them. In short, the Israelites were completely trapped. In today's world, you would say there's zero chance of survival. You'd call it mission impossible. But that's exactly when things got really interesting, because the Israelites, despite their fears, did something super unexpected. They started praising God, calling out to him for help, and amazingly, he responded. The Bible says God told Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and tell them to turn and march away from Pharaoh, because he won't follow us anymore. The Lord will surely fight for you, and you will have the victory." Wow, talk about divine intervention. And that's exactly what happened. The Israelites were instructed to walk into the Red Sea, and a strong wind from God blew all night, piling up the seas, waters, and creating a path to freedom. When the Egyptians tried to follow, the water came crashing down, killing every single one of them. Every single person. The Israelites crossed the sea and were instantly free. They sang songs of praise to God, celebrating the most incredible miracle in history. But it's not just this epic tale of survival and freedom. It's also a testament to the power of prayer. In the darkest moments, when all hope seemed lost, the Israelites turned to God and he answered. This story is not just about escaping danger. It's about placing your trust in something bigger than yourself, even when you're surrounded by seemingly insurmountable obstacles. Today, we want to dig deeper. Is this miracle from the book of Exodus a historical fact? Can we find proof of it in the archaeological record? What does it mean for us today? Before we jump in, I want to level with you for a second. This is going to be a tough one. There's next to no physical evidence for the Exodus itself, which includes the Red Sea crossing. We have zero Egyptian records that mention millions of people just leaving. And that casts a shadow on this event, too. But that doesn't mean we should ignore it. I mean, we have ancient records that clearly mention Israel and Abraham being in the land of Canaan. And that alone makes it super hard to just write off this story as fiction. Now, when it comes to finding the exact location of this crossing, things get even trickier. For ages, scholars assumed that they knew where it happened. After all, the Hebrew name for the sea, Yam Suf, even means Sea of Reeds. And that matches up with the marshlands in northern Egypt near the Suez Canal. But in the 1970s, an explorer named Ron Wyatt dropped a bombshell. He proposed that the crossing happened way down south in the Gulf of Aqaba, a super deep part of the Red Sea. And he pointed to one specific spot, Nuweiba Beach. It's this huge, flat stretch of land that could have held millions of people. And it's surrounded on 3 sides by mountains with only one narrow canyon. If an army tried to sneak in there after you, you'd be hopelessly trapped against the ocean. Okay, so you're probably wondering, was this it? Did the Israelites cross here? Well, here's the thing. While this theory sounds great, we've not found a shred of solid evidence to back it up. First, we have to talk about this underwater ridge. Some folks claim that maps of the ocean floor show a land bridge connecting Nuweiba Beach to Saudi Arabia. They say this would have been the path the Israelites took, but turns out that's a bit of a stretch. Sure, scientists have noted that there is a large underwater ridge in that area, but it's still insanely deep, over 2,500 feet down, with super steep sides. The idea of a shallow enough passage for millions of people to cross, well, that's a big fat nope. There are also claims that divers have discovered coral-covered shapes on the bottom of the sea that look just like ancient chariot wheels. Even giant columns on both sides of the shore built as memorials. But again, none of this has been verified by mainstream experts. In fact, it's all been debunked as just weird-looking coral or stuff from totally different time periods. And that leaves us in this crazy place where we don't have clear answers. We have this amazing story in the Bible, but the physical proof we'd love to have, it's still missing. Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about how scientists try to explain this impossible event. Researchers have actually dived into this, trying to figure out if there's any natural event that could explain the parting of the Red Sea. It's quite the puzzle. What they've uncovered is something called wind set down. Basically, it's when a super strong wind blows for hours straight, pushing water back and exposing the land underneath. One study suggests that a strong wind over an ancient lagoon in Egypt could have pushed back enough water to create a land bridge for a short time. But this model can't match up with the details in the Bible. It does unexplain how the water could stand still or create those massive walls that kept the Israelites safe. Plus, the wind needed would have to be almost hurricane level, which makes it hard to imagine the people walking through. So here's where we're at. We have a fascinating story in the Bible, a potential location, and some intriguing theories, but solid proof, we haven't found it yet. And that's where things get really interesting, because this isn't just a historical mystery. It's a deep spiritual story that shaped faith for thousands of years. The Apostle Paul, way back in the New Testament, compared this moment to Christian baptism. He said the Israelites were all baptized into Moses in the cloud and in the sea. That's a big deal. It shows how this event isn't just a story of physical freedom, it's a spiritual one. Crossing through the water, leaving slavery behind, and stepping into freedom. That's a journey we can all relate to. Plus, this story teaches us about trust. When trapped at the edge of the water, the people were scared. But God's instructions were simple. Keep walking and I'll make a way. That's a lesson for us too. When we're facing our own Red Seas, when our problems seem as big as an army and as final as a sea, the story reminds us to trust in something bigger than ourselves. It's a reminder to keep moving forward, even when we can't see the path ahead. And finally, this story shows us that there's no going back. After destroying Pharaoh's army, there was no way to go back to slavery. The path to freedom was straight ahead. This story isn't just a moment in history. It's a mirror reflecting our own journeys. It's a reminder that our problems might seem overwhelming, but with faith and trust, we can walk through the storms of life and emerge on the other side, stronger and more free. As we wrap up today's dive, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What do you think happened at the Red Sea? Is it a moment in history, a profound spiritual truth, or maybe both? And how does this story impact you today? Let us know in the comments below. We're eager to hear your perspective. Thanks for joining us today on this journey through faith and history. If you found this exploration of the Red Sea crossing insightful, hit that subscribe button. You'll be the first to know when we drop our next video. Until then, keep asking questions, keep seeking answers, and remember, sometimes the most epic stories are waiting to be discovered. Thanks for watching. See you next time.